Hello friends, this is me, your host. Welcome back to our channel. I hope you all are well and doing great. So today I am back with another video to give a review on another book, which is all about love. This is by Bell Hooks. The men in my life have always been the folks who are wary of using the word love lightly. They are wary because they believe women make too much of love. And they know that what we think love means is not always what they believe it means. A confusion about what we mean when we use the word love is a source of our difficulty in loving. If our society had a commonly held understanding of the meaning of love, the act of loving would not be so mystifying. Dictionary definitions of love tend to emphasize romantic love, defining love first and foremost as profoundly tender, passionate affection for another person, especially when based on sexual attraction. Of course, other definitions let the reader know one may have such feelings within a context that is not sexual. However, deep affection does not really adequately describe love's meaning. The vast majority of books on the subject of love work hard to avoid giving clear definitions. In the introduction to Diana Ackerman's A Natural History of Love, she declares, love is the great intangible. A few sentences down from this, she suggests, everyone admits that love is wonderful and necessary. Yet, no one can agree on what it is. I wanted to know love, but I was afraid to surrender and trust another person. I was afraid to be intimate by choosing men who were not interested in being loving. I was able to practice giving love. but always within an unfulfilling context. Naturally, my need to receive love was not met. I got what I was accustomed to getting: care and affection, usually mingled with a degree of unkindness, neglect, and on some occasions, outright cruelty. At times, I was unkind. It took me a long time to recognize that while I wanted to know love, I was afraid to be truly intimate. Many of us choose relationships of affection and care that will never become loving, because they feel safer. The demands are not as intense as loving requires. The risk is not as great. So many of us long for love but lack the courage to take risks. Even though we are obsessed with the idea of love, the truth is that most of us live relatively decent, somewhat satisfying lives, even if we often feel that love is lacking. In these relationships, we share genuine affection or care. For most of us, that feels like enough, because it is usually a lot more than we received in our families of origin. Undoubtedly, many of us are more comfortable with the notion that love can mean anything to anybody precisely. Because when we define it with precision and clarity, it brings us face to face with our lacks. With terrible alienation. The truth is, far too many people in our culture do not know what love is. And this not knowing feels like a terrible secret, a lack that we have to cover up. Had I been given a clear definition of love earlier in my life, it would not have taken me so long to become a more loving person. Had I shared with others a common understanding of what it means to love, it would have been easier to create love. It is particularly distressing that so many recent books on love continue to insist the definitions on love are unnecessary and meaningless. Or worse, the author suggests love should mean something different to men than it does to women. That the sexes should respect and adapt to our inability to communicate, since we do not share the same language. This type of literature is popular because it does not demand a change in fixed ways of thinking about gender roles, cultures, or love. We learn about love in childhood. Whether our homes are happy or troubled, our family is functional or dysfunctional, it's the original school of love. I cannot remember ever wanting to ask my parents to define love. To my child's mind, love was the good feeling you got when family treated you like you mattered and you treated them like they mattered. Love was always and only about good feeling. In early adolescence, when we were whipped and told that these punishments were for our own good, or I am doing this because I love you. My siblings and I were confused. Why was harsh punishment a gesture of love? As children do, we pretend to accept this grown-up logic, but we knew in our hearts it was not right. We knew it was a lie. just like the lie the grown ups told when they explained after harsh punishment. It hurts me more than it hurts you. There is nothing that creates more confusion about love in the minds and hearts of children than unkind or cruel punishment meted out by the grown ups they have been taught they should love and respect. Such children learn early on to question the meaning of love, to yearn for love even as they doubt it exists. On the flip side, there are massive of children who grew up confident love is a good feeling, who are never punished, who are allowed to believe that love is only about getting your needs met. Your desire satisfied. In the child's mind, love is mostly something given to them. When children like these are overindulged, either materially or by being allowed to act out, this is a form of neglect. These children, though not in any way abused or uncared for, are usually as unclear about love's meaning as their neglected and emotionally abandoned counterparts. Both groups have learned to think about love primarily in relation to good feelings, in the context of reward and punishment. From early childhood on, most of us remember being told we were loved when we did things pleasing to our parents, and we learn to give them affirmations of love when they pleased us. As children grow, they associate love more with acts of attention, affection, and caring. They still see parents who attempt to satisfy their desires as giving love. Children from all classes tell me that they love their parents and are loved by them. Even those who are being hurt or abused. When asked to define love, small children pretty much agree that it's a good feeling. Like when you have something to eat that you really like, especially if it's your favorite. They will say, my mommy loves me because she takes care of me and helps me do everything right. When asked how to love someone, they talk about giving hugs and kisses, being sweet and cuddly. The notion that love is about getting what one wants, whether it's a hug or a new sweater or a trip to Disneyland, is a way of thinking about love that makes it difficult for children to acquire a deeper emotional understanding. Awakening to love can happen only as we let go of our obsession with power and domination. Culturally, all spheres of American life, politics, religion, the workplace, domestic households, intimate relations should and could have as a foundation a love ethic. The underlying values of a culture and its ethics shape and inform the way we speak and act. A love ethic presupposes that everyone has the right to be free, to live fully and well, to bring a love ethic to every dimension of our lives. Our society would need to embrace change. At the end of the art of loving, Erich Fromm affirms that important and radical changes are necessary. If love is to become a social and not a highly individualistic, marginal phenomenon, individuals who choose to love can and do alter our lives in ways that honor the primacy of a love ethic. We do this by choosing to work with individuals we admire and respect, by committing to give our all to relationships, by embracing a global version wherein we see our lives and our fate as intimately connected, committing to give our all to relationships, by embracing a global vision wherein we see our lives and our fate as intimately connected to those of everyone else on the planet. Commitment to our love ethic transforms our lives by offering us a different set of values to live by. by offering us a different set of values to live by. In large and small ways, we make choices based on a belief that honesty, openness, and personal integrity need to be expressed in public and private decisions. I chose to move to a small city so I could live in the same area as family, even thought it was not as culturally desirable as the place I left. Friends of mine live at home with aging parents, caring for them even though they have enough money to go elsewhere. Living by a love ethic, we learn to value loyalty and a commitment to sustain bonds over material advancement. While careers and making money remain important agendas, they never take precedence over valuing and nurturing human life and well-being. To ensure human survival, everywhere in the world, females and males organize themselves into communities. Communities sustain life, not nuclear families. Or the couple, and certainly not the rugged individualist. There is no better place to learn the art of loving than in community. M. Scott Peck begins his book, The Different Drum, Community Making and Peace, with a profound declaration. In and through community lies the salvation of the world. Peck defines community as the coming together of a group of individuals who have learned how to communicate honestly with each other. Whose relationships go deeper than their masks of composure, and who have developed some significant commitment to rejoice together, mourn together, and to delight in each other and make others' conditions our own. We are all born into the world of community. Rarely, if ever, does a child come into the world in isolation. with only one or two onlookers. Children are born into a world surrounded by the possibility of communities. Families, doctors, nurses, midwives, and even admiring strangers comprise the comprise this field of connections, some more intimate than others. Within a loving community, we sustain ties by being a compassionate and forgiving. Eric Butterworth's life is for loving includes a chapter on love and forgiveness. We cannot endure without love, and there is no other way there is no other way to return of healing, comforting, harmonizing love than through total and complete forgiveness. If we want freedom and peace and the experience of love and being loved, we must let go and forgive. Forgiveness is an act of generosity. It requires that we place releasing someone else from the prison of their guilt or anguish over our feelings of outrage or anger. By forgiving, we clear a path on the way to love. It is a gesture of respect. True forgiveness requires that we understand the negative actions of an other. While forgiveness is essential to spiritual growth, it does not make everything immediately wonderful or fine. Often, New Age writing on the subject of love makes it seem as though everything will always be wonderful if we are just loving. Realistically, being part of a loving community does not mean we will not face conflicts, betrayals, negative outcomes from positive actions or bad things happening to good people. Love allows us to confront these negative realities in a manner that is life affirming and life enhancing. When a colleague whose work I admired, whom I considered a friend, who for no reason that was ever clear to me, began to write vicious attacks of my work, I was stunned. Her critiques were full of lies and exaggerations. I had been a caring friend. Her actions hurt. To heal this pain, I entered into an empathic identification with her so that I could understand what might have motivated her. In forgiveness, a bold choice for a peaceful heart. Robin Kasajian explains, forgiveness is a way of life that gradually transforms us from being helpless victims of our circumstances to being powerful and loving co-creators of our reality. It is the fading away of the perceptions that cloud our ability to love. Love allows us to enter paradise. Still, many of us wait outside the gates, unable to cross the threshold, unable to leave behind all the stuff we have accumulated that gets in the way of love. If we have not been guided on love's path for most of our lives, we usually do not know how to begin loving, or what we should do and how we should act. Much of the despair young people feel about love comes from the belief that they are doing everything right, or that they have done everything right and love is still not happening. The efforts to love and be loved just produce stress, strife, and perpetual discontent. In my 20s and early 30s, I was confident. I knew what love was all about. Yet every time I fell in love, I found myself in pain. The two most intense partnerships of my life were both with men who are adult children of alcoholic fathers. Neither has memories of interacting positively with his father. Both were raised by divorced working mothers who never married again. They were similar in temperament to my dad. Quite hardworking and emotionally withholding. I can remember when I took the first man home, my sisters were shocked that he was in their eyes so much like Daddy. And you have always hated Daddy. At the time, I thought this was ridiculous. Both the notion I hate Daddy and the idea that my chosen life partner was in any way like him. No way. After 15 years with this partner, I realized not only how much he was like Dad, I also came face to face with my desperate longing to get the love from him I had not gotten from my father. I wanted him to become both the loving dad and a loving partner, thereby offering me a space of giving me all the care I had not gotten as a child. It would mend my broken spirit and I would be able to trust and love again. He was unable to do this. He had never been schooled in the way of love. False notions of love teach us that it is a place where we will feel no pain, where we will be in a state of constant bliss. We have to expose the falseness of these beliefs, to see and accept the reality that suffering and pain do not end when we begin to love. In some cases, when we are making the slow journey back from lovelessness to love, our suffering may become more intense. As the lyrics of old-time spirituals testify, weeping may endure for a night, but joy will come in the morning. Acceptance of pain is part of loving practice. It enables us to distinguish constructive suffering from self-indulgent hurt. When love's promise has never been fulfilled in our lives, it is perhaps the most difficult practice of love to trust. That the passage through the painful abyss leads to paradise. Guy Corneau suggests in Lessons in Love that many men are so fearful of feeling the emotional pain that has been locked away inside them for so long that they willingly choose a life of lovelessness. A good number of men simply decide not to commit themselves because they cannot face dealing with the emotional pain of love and the conflict it engenders. Women are often belittled for trying to restructure these men and bring them back to life and to love. They are, in fact, the real sleeping beauties. We might be living in a world that would be even more alienated and violent if caring women did not do the work of teaching men who have lost touch with themselves how to live again. This labor of love is futile only when the man is questioned refuse to awaken, refuse growth. At this point, it is a gesture of self love for women to break their commitment and move on. When we practice love, we want to give more. Selfishness, a refusal to give acceptance to another, is a central reason romantic relationships fail. In Love the Way You Want It, Robert Sternberg confirms, if I were asked single most frequent cause of the destruction of relationships, I would say it is selfishness. We live in an age of Robert Sternberg confirms, if I were asked the single most frequent cause of the destruction of relationships, I would say it is selfishness. We live in an age of narcissism, and many people never learn or have forgotten how to listen to the needs of others. The truth is, if you want to make just one change in yourself that will improve your relationship literally overnight, it would be to put your partner's interest on an equal footing with your own, giving generously in romantic relationships and in all other bonds means recognizing when the other person needs our attention. Attention is an important resource. Generous sharing of all resources is one concrete way to express love. These resources can be time, attention, material objects, skills, money, etc. Once we embark on love's path, we see how easy it is to give. A useful gift all love's practitioners can give is the offering of forgiveness. It only allows us to move away from blame, from seeing others as a cause of our sustained lovelessness. But it enables us to experience agency, to serious agency, to know we can be responsible for giving and finding love. We need not blame others for feelings of lack, for we know how to attend to them. We know how to give ourselves love and to recognize the love that is all around us. Much of the anger and rage we feel about emotional lack is released when we forgive ourselves and others. Forgiveness opens up and prepares us to receive love. It prepares the way for us to give wholeheartedly. In her first book, The Bluest Eyes, the novelist Toni Morrison identifies the idea of romantic love as one of the most destructive ideas. In the history of human thought. Its destructiveness resides in the notion that we come to love with no will and no capacity to choose. This illusion, perpetuated by so much romantic lore, stands in the way of our learning how to love. To sustain our fantasy, we substitute romance for love. When romance is depicted as a project, or so the mass media, especially movies, would have us believe, women are the architects and the planners. Everyone likes to imagine that women are romantics, sentimental about love that men follow, where women lead. Even in non-heterosexual relationships, the paradigms of leader and follower often prevail, with one person assuming the role deemed feminine and another the designated masculine role. No doubt it was someone playing the role of leader who conjured up the notion that we fall in love, that we lack choice and decision when choosing a partner, because when the chemistry is present, when the click is there, it just happens. It overwhelms, it takes control. So this is all we have from today from this book. I hope you guys get the point about all about the love. That word love is between the children, between elders, what it ethics, all each and everything. And if you like the book, don't forget to press the like button. And you can buy this book from our website, which is Bestbook4u. You can also tell me in the comment section a book suggestion on which you want a review, so I can make a video on that too. So I'll be back with another video to give a review. Till then, just take care and goodbye.